G'day there, Dan Illich here. Happy 2024 to you. Now, before Peter Dutton takes over today's show, I should let you know that we have a huge 1 millionth download show that is happening on the 1st of February in Melbourne at the Malthouse Theatre. It's a huge lineup. Kirsty Wiebeck, Sammy Shah, Charlie Pickering, and the one and only Richard Feidler will also be performing on stage, the man with the most downloads of any podcast of anyone in Australia, which is very, very good. It's a huge lineup. Lewis Hobber may also even join us over Zoom if his baby is sleeping. So that is going to be a good deal to pay money to come to see a Zoom conference. No, we're all live on stage. Most of us are there. Lewis will be in Sydney with his baby. But yeah, we are celebrating 1 million downloads of Irrational Fear. So please do come on down to the Malthouse Theatre to help us celebrate. And if you want a discount, you can head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Irrational Fear. And if you become a member, you'll see the Patreon code there for the discount for the shows, where we give away pretty much a discount to all of our live shows, some of which are in this episode. So, you'll have a good time. Anyway, what I'm saying is give us money in any form you want. Come to the live show or go to Patreon. Also, it's a good chance for Melbourne people to come see us. We're probably not going down to the Melbourne Comedy Festival this year, so this is your 2024 chance to catch Irrational Fear in Melbourne, so do come along. Also, some listeners have expressed dismay that Peter Dutton is hosting Irrational Fear's End of the Year show. And I quote, "We shouldn't be platforming this tuber." Well, in the interest of balance, he's here. He's taking over the best sketches of 2023. Sorry, not much I can do about it. I'm sure it'll be fine. We need to placate the future Prime Minister of Australia. It's something we need to worry about. I mean, Labor's polling is so bad. We cannot risk upsetting Peter Dutton at this stage of our career. All right, I'm recording this episode of Irrational Fear on the land of the Tharawal. Let's start the show.
The following program contains medium coarse language and traces of nuts. Irrational Fear recommends listening by immature audiences. Comedians, experts, laughing at the world as it burns down around us. This is a Irrational Fear.
Hello, my fellow Australians and listeners to this podcast. My name is Peter Dutton and I am hosting this show. Normally, Alan Jones hosts the New Year's Day Irrational Fear, but he said he had some free tickets to an afternoon session of Wonga, so I guess he's going to that. I usually don't do podcasts. I find I'm a lot more intimidating when you can see me with Liberal members in suits behind me nodding behind my head. Besides, I treat podcast listeners like I'd treat Queenslanders, probably guilty unless they're voting for me. Well, let's get underway with the best sketches of 2023's Irrational Fear, with a joke from February about New South Wales, which is great because there'll be no jokes about Queensland in this podcast.
Hey, is your bank balance too full? Do you have a large amount of cash acquired through organised crime? Well, come on down to your local Clubs New South Wales club and we'll lighten the load. With our state-of-the-art poker machines, we'll take your pension and triple it if you're lucky. And if it doesn't work, just try again in a fortnight. Or maybe you've got a suitcase of cash from the proceeds of pharmaceutical distribution that needs a tax-free origin story. Well, from now until March 26, you can put it all through one of our 9,500 poker machines. That's more than Las Vegas, baby. And when you cash out, we won't ask any questions. Don't worry, no one asks any questions of us, and if they do, we'll find their Nazi photos. Everyone's got a Nazi photo. Come on down to your local Clubs New South Wales club. Everyone's welcome, even Catholics.
I don't have any picture. I'm not aware of that.
Oh, wow. Remember Dominic Perrottet? That feels like 1,000 state of origins ago. That's a lot of water buybacks under the bridge. In October, Australians said no to the referendum, mainly because I told them to. And despite having more information than any other major referendum before, I told Australians that they didn't have any information, and that's all the information they needed. Hi, Peter Dutton here. I'm calling on Albo to provide more information on the Indigenous voice to Parliament, but not in the format of a 270-page report. That's too much information. And not in the format of a series of one-on-one consultations from constitutional experts and the Prime Minister himself. That information is too oral, and as you know, I'm hard of listening, which is why I refuse to hear members of my own party advocating for a yes position. You could try to make a pamphlet with pictures that move when you pull a little tab, but it'll go straight into the shredder. If a report, briefings, conventions, pamphlets, a decade of development, and even lobbying from my own party won't convince me, Peter Dutton, maybe there's another reason that a former Queensland cop is against an Indigenous voice to Parliament. I just can't put my finger on it. But if I did, I'd have to vocalise it, and then I'd have to sue myself for defamation. And maybe that's the only detail that's missing. Albo.
Authorised by Plausible Deniability, Canberra.
Oh, don't you just love nostalgia? Hearing that reminds me of arresting kids and throwing them in the lockup for not wearing the right colour skin. In March, Jim Chalmers tried to make some superficial changes to superannuation. It's only about as superficial as my new glasses. I don't even need them to know that Jim Chalmers is always wrong. See? They're clear.
Jim Chalmers says if you've got more than $3 million in super, you'll probably be okay with paying a normal amount of tax. But tell that to the renters in your fifth investment property. Jim Chalmers wants to steal money from the super rich to give it to the slightly less super rich. Is this the Australia we want?
So these are confronting numbers.
Jim Chalmers doesn't want you to enjoy Bollinger on your 66th birthday. He's forcing you to drink Dom Perignon yuck instead.
It's going to be a difficult time ahead.
Don't let Labor steal your third first-class trip on the Queen Mary 2 this year away from you.
It will get tougher before it starts to ease.
Authorised by Rich for a sane conversation about Super Australia.
I hate superannuation. You don't need it. That's why I've got about $30 million in property. Don't ask me how. Thank God there's no ICAC in Queensland. Okay, here's a song about the dangers of gas, which is a parody of an ad from the 90s about gas, which is a parody of a hip-hop song from the 80s. We all parody something. I'm a parody of Vladimir Putin with a sense of humour.
Cooking with gas, cooking with gas.
Do we regret making an ad that was cooking with gas?
At first I thought that gas was cool, until I got held back in school. Diagnosed with asthma, low cognition, ADHD. No wonder I get distracted. What's that over there? Cooking with gas, cooking with gas.
We've all got problems because we're cooking with gas. Carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, in fact my favourite's formaldehyde. Killer substances are entering your brain,
Cause you're cooking in your house with an open
flame. Cooking with gas, cooking with gas. Our bodies are off because we're cooking with gas.
What's up? I'm a big gas man, telling politicians to use gas whenever they can to reduce damages to our bank balance contractual. They even rename methane to make it seem natural. Killing with gas, killing with gas. Methane accelerates global warming, so we're killing with gas. Gas. Killing with gas.
Now that's what I call fugitive emissions.
At the start of the year, Irrational Fear performed live at the World Science Week in Brisbane, the greatest city in the world after the Gold Coast. And Mandy Nolan had some horrible things to say about everyday, hard-working Australian cookers.
Thank you. Something that Dan didn't tell you is that I come from a little town in northern New South Wales called Mullumbimby. Do you know it? Thank you. People there judge me. They go, look at you all up yourself with your registered car. Oh, I know. Driving my immunised children to Centrelink. It's not a big lineup where I am. But you would have seen when I was running last year, I think it was about a year ago, it was a big push because we had a lot of conspiracists. Do you have anyone, because we know them, like I have a friend, that's one, you know, she's a fuckwit, but she's still a friend. And what happens is, like, in a city, like, you don't need to keep, in a small area, you've got to keep your fuckwits close. So she gets freaked out. Like, she'd go to me, she goes, don't get vaccinated. She goes, that's the government. trying to give you 5G. And I said, what? And she goes, it's a self-assembling chip, Mandy. It's a gel chip. It comes in and then it goes around and assembles in your body. And I went, are you saying the government's doing this? She goes, yeah. I mean, is that the same government that can't get fibre optic cable to my home? That government. I went, you're fucking talking them up. Yeah, I'd be really impressed. I was so impressed because I thought I'm going to get all the vaccinations because I live in a regional area. Coverage is shit. And I thought next time I come out for a campaign, I can go like tether to my tits. Like, I'll be the human example of connectivity. Like, come on. But this particular friend gets freaked out. And I drove in the other day and you know when you see, like, I saw like a big plume in the sky and I went, oh, fuck, the chemtrail people are going to be busy today. Because she would freak out every time I put a picture of a cloud because I don't know, I can see there's a lot of menopausal women here. And when you reach an age where you see a cloud and you went, oh, fuck, I have to photograph that. People will want to see that on Facebook. Which is ironic because the sky is like the original fucking internet. We can all see it. Hard to comment on. And so every time I put a cloud up, she's straight on. She's bang on it going, oh my God. She goes, that's not a cloud, Bendy. That's a chemtrail. And I have to say, like, she didn't study she's not working for the bomb. She didn't study meteorology or, I think she did massage at TAFE. She didn't finish. And she's always going, that's a cloud, that's a chemtrail. So what do you think is happening? She goes, oh, that's the government spraying us. And I said, why? She goes, oh, to dumb us down. And I'm like, well, that would be a waste of spray. You've got to love, though, this is all true. You've got to love the confidence of a community. Like where I live, like there's 3,000 people, probably max, sort of living in the little region in the country town. And you're going, that we actually think we're being sprayed. We're that subversive. The government's like, oh, fuck, get in the plane again. We're going to have to, come on, Barry, we're going to have to fucking spray Mullumbimby again. I just wish, like I've lived there for 20, 30 years and people aren't big believers in the chemicals, as far as deodorant, etc. And I understand that, I do get it. But sometimes in summer I think, fuck, what are they spraying? Could they just put some Rexona in there? Thank you.
If there's one thing I can get used to, it's the consolidation of power of Home Affairs while I was Minister. Pity I'm not that anymore. If there's another thing I can get used to, it's making fun of New South Wales clubs again. Oh.
Irrational Fear is brought to you by New South Wales Poker Machine ASMR. Button clicks, free drink sips, the jangle of cash from 5 Cleopatras. But the sweetest sound of all is when donations hit your election campaign bank account. If you like the sound of staying in government and the sound of Nazi photos quietly being shredded, ditch the cashless poker machine cards, or else. Authorised by Clubs New South Wales in a very non-threatening way, Campbelltown.
Ha 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 ha. Suck it, New South Wales. Back in March, the IPCC brought down their 6th assessment report. Scientists will try to tell you that climate change is going to kill the planet, but I will tell you right now that the world will end because people don't say Merry Christmas enough. Anyway, here's that master of woke nonsense, David Attenborough.
Irrational Fear and Audible presents David Attenborough reading the AR6 report from the IPCC, uncensored, unplugged, and unhinged.
Human activities, principally through emissions of greenhouse gases, have unequivocally caused global warming. You see, I fucking told you all, didn't I?
Hear the moment the BAFTA award-winning naturalist's brain explodes.
With global surface temperatures reaching 1.1 degrees centigrade. How many fucking documentaries do I need to fucking make?
Experience the frustration of someone who's given their life to the pursuit of truth in the face of unbridled capitalism.
Deep rapid and sustained reductions in greenhouse gas emissions would lead to a discernible slowdown in global warming within around 2 decades. Discernible? I'll be dead in 2 fucking decades. How about I give you all a discernible reduction in me?
It's what could be David Attenborough's last great audiobook.
Oh, fuck it, that's it. I'm getting into crypto. Fuck all of you bitches.
Now available on Audible. Download the app and start listening today.
Finally, in May 2023, something we'd all been waiting for dropped. The final episode of Succession. You know, the documentary about my boss, Rupert Murdoch. Oh, and also the inauguration of my other boss, His Majesty the King.
My dear loyal and disloyal subjects, this forthcoming weekend is finally my coronation. In a move to modernize the monarchy, I'm inviting all of you to swear allegiance to me, King Charles. And in a very progressive move, I, King Charles, invite you to choose your own swear words to do just that. Some of my personal favorites include, but are not limited to, dick, numpty, wiffle waffle, fuck, a personal favorite of mine, fop doodle, gadzooks, and of course, Harry, Meghan, and Andrew. Any of these are enough to get you started, so feel free to mix and match. For example, all hail His Royal Wiffle Waffle fucking King Charles. Or herald His Highness Fop Doodle Numpty Andrew Dick, King Charles. So this weekend, right around the world, may you all enjoy swearing at me while I'm being sworn in a very progressive and modern way. You fucking peasants.
Oh, in June, we said goodbye to one of my heroes, Silvia Berlusconi. Straight up one of the best wogs I've ever met. And SBS had the exclusive rights.
This Saturday night on SBS, it's the Bunga Bunga to end all Bunga Bungas. Watch the funeral of Silvio Berlusconi live and unpaid for. See the mafia give a 21-gun salute into the side of a black Mercedes full of political enemies, while Berlusconi's open casket is paraded down the street as the Italian Revenue Agency showers it with shredded tax returns. Then the traditional ceremony of passing a nondescript paper bag stuffed with cash to a lawyer, who will then pass it to a policeman, who will then order his unit to cast Berlusconi's coffin into the wet concrete foundations of a highway off-ramp that will never be completed, buried forever, much like democracy in Italy. That's Berlusconi's last Bunga Bunga. Live from 10 p.m. Saturday night on SBS. It's Irrational Fear.
At the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Irrational Fear performed live on stage and invited the owners of the house that jumped in front of the car that Liberal MP Tim Smith was driving. Anyway, they interviewed him and they did something else as well, which I found appalling. That's a joke you'll get after.
17 months ago, 9 p.m. on a Saturday night, we were watching Love Island UK or something like that reruns. And anyway...
We already know they're telling the truth because no one would admit that if it was a lie.
Yeah. They were already experiencing a car crash.
But we heard a car hurtling towards our house and it slammed in. I said, shit, it's hit the house. And went outside and saw the car and a guy spinning his wheels, trying to reverse in and out, jumping in and out, asking us to help him. I said, we're getting away from this anyway. 2 hours later, he's arrested. We had no idea who it was at that stage.
Wow. So did you go and try and meet this guy and try and find out who he is?
No, we were approached by a woman alleging to be his GP who came over.
She was just walking the dogs past the house. Said, I'm Tim.
Most people are waiting 5 weeks to see a GP. Tim Smith's just got one in the back seat.
a minute away every time he crashes. And yes, so she came and spoke to us on his behalf.
And what did she say?
She gave me his PA's number and said that his PA would get in touch. And when I asked what the driver's name was, she said, Tim Smith. And it was so strange. I thought she'd made this name up, like as an alias.
Yes, Tim Smith.
Tim Smith, yes.
So shortly after that happened, did he ever kind of approach you to say, I'm sorry? Did he contact you?
No, well, the next day his PA called us, and when I asked how the driver was, she said, she's just with me.
Hang on, she called up to apologise?
She called to apologise on his behalf.
Whoa.
I imagine he was still busy with his GP, who was also right there.
Wow, so he didn't even make the contact to say
But
sorry.
he was right, he was next to the phone.
He was there waiting, in case.
He was hungover.
The sincerest apology, of course, of all, is the one you get someone else to do for you. We know that.
So she passed the phone up?
She passed the phone over, and then he spoke and, was very regretful, of course.
Right, but didn't say sorry?
I can't remember the exact words.
Like a politician, can't remember. Yeah, can't remember.
Because you're a lawyer.
I am.
Do you feel like the non-apology apology was to make sure that they never actually admitted fault at any point?
Oh,
It's probably hard to ignore.
Possibly. Who knows?
We need to put out here that Tim Smith was at the time Shadow Attorney General of Victoria.
And
he also has no legal qualifications. So Simone is actually more qualified to be Shadow Attorney General than Tim Smith. Amazing. So how long after he crashed in the house you put the board up on the fence?
Well, the board was put up straight away by our insurers. And then, a couple of months later, we saw this Chappaquiddick sign.
Right. So this is Tony Martin's tweet here saying someone's got a sense of humour. So Chappaquiddick, for people who don't know, is a town in Martha's Vineyard, and a very prominent US politician drunk drove and murdered someone and never really suffered the consequences. It was a bit of a big cover-up at the time. I love this graffiti here because it's spelt Chappaquiddick wrong. It's missing a D, but they've underlined the word dick underneath. So we know exactly what was going on there. So tell us, has this fence caused you much kind of anxiety, having this landmark on your house now?
I've been amazed at how many people want a selfie with it.
Not with you, with the fence. Do you get out of the way? I want this inanimate object in this beautiful photo.
Very odd. They actually just take a photo of the fence. I think you can look online and just get it. You just have to get there.
So it's obviously all fixed now. And when did you get the fence fixed?
Just this week, it's finally been fixed.
And probably, Tim, paid the bill, fixed you up for the money for that.
No, there's no. Tim Smith has not spent a cent on this.
So hang on, it's been like 2 years and he hasn't paid to have the fence fixed.
No, just lawyers to try and avoid paying.
Oh my God. So why are you here tonight? What are you doing?
Well, we just thought a good end to this, a jovial sort of end to this sort of a stressful 17 months, that we could create something good out of it. I mean, we already did and got him sacked, so that was great. But the second thing is that maybe we can get some money for charity, so we're going to auction off the fence.
Fantastic. Here at Irrational Fear, we had it mounted and framed, and it is ready to auction. Look at it. Thank you, Lewis. Look at that beautiful fence. Oh my God. Now, what do you think of it? What do you think of this?
I think it looks great. I'm bidding.
Well, in order to help the auction, we have actually created an ad with the voiceover courtesy of the one and only Tony Martin. Here is the ad we're going to use to kind of get this auction going.
The Irrational Fear Mint presents a unique opportunity to own a piece of Australian political idiocy. You can now own Tim Smith's fence cover-up because he refuses to.
I'm going to need some time
to reflect. I'm reflecting on my position.
Made from 100% Bunnings particle board, collect a piece of the sheet that covered up a hole in the fence created by a drink-driving Tim Smith. Maybe the worst Victorian Liberal ever, if it wasn't for the whole Nazi thing. In terms of fence cover-ups, it's one of the dumbest ever presented for sale to the Australian public. Like its namesake, the particle board is of low value. Hang it on your wall as a warning about the dangers of mixing privilege and alcohol. Sit it in your dining room where your guests can be as intoxicated as someone who had a skinful and drove through a fence on their way home. Or simply put it out in the scrap heap of history where it belongs. Proceeds from the sale of Tim Smith's fence cover-up will go to the Asylum Seeker Resource Centre. Remember, if you drink and drive through a fence, you're a bloody idiot.
Fantastic. So good.
Come July, it was clear the No campaign needed a little help, so I asked the boss if he'd start a new channel dedicated to The Voice, and he agreed.
The Voice referendum is coming, and Sky News will be ready with a special 24-hour channel to cover every aspect of the No campaign. Watch Andrew Bolt say no.
No.
Watch Peter Credlin say no.
No.
Watch Paul Murray say no.
No.
Watch Rowan Dean say no.
No.
Watch Pauline Hanson say no.
No.
Watch Peter Dutton say no.
No.
Watch Barnaby Joyce say something.
Now I can't but always
Will anyone watch it? Yes, but they'll already be voting no. If you don't know about saying no, watch those who have no idea say no. 24 hours a day. Sky News. Be in the know.
Then, over the English summer, which is the Australian winter, I'll never understand how that works, the English were complaining that Australians were winning cricket too much, so they came up with a brand new phrase to explain why they're so shit.
When it comes to cricket, there's only one spirit of the game. A spirit so refined that it makes you more correct than the umpire. A spirit so crisp that it makes racism look like light banter. A spirit so buoyant you could forget that England is losing the Ashes to Australia on home soil. Oh yes, no, top me up, thank you. That's lovely. Presenting the only spirit of the game that counts, MCC Gin. Cheers! Fueling the entitlement of the Marylebone Cricket Club members since I forget, when was it? MCC Gin, yes, as appointed to the Queen, Her Majesty, when she was the first woman to set foot in the Holy Long Room. Ever. Oh, hear that? Is that a woman in the long room? MCC Gin, the spirit of the game. For sore losers, it's the perfect tonic. Make mine a hat-trick.
As you know, no is my favourite word. It just sounds so good. No. Oh, yeah. In the lead-up to the referendum, it was very confusing for no voters. How could they express no if a cross was out of the question? Thankfully, the election ombudsman had some very helpful advice.
A message from the elections ombudsman.
In the upcoming referendum, there's only two choices, yes or no. Here's how you can exercise your democratic right. For yes, just write the word yes with the pencil provided. And for no, you can just write the word no. But be warned, you won't be allowed a dictionary. You will have to learn how to spell no before you go to vote. If you don't know how to spell no, just leave a saliva sample. You can find yours at the bottom of your chin or cheek, or in some cases, at the tip of your nose. Happy referendum.
Authorised by the Elections Ombudsman, which is not a real organisation.
Speaking of The Voice, if only Yes23 had done their job and adequately sold The Voice to racists. I think Lewis Hopper has a point here.
So I've got some ideas that I've had to turn the Yes campaign around. Because look, a lot of the people voting no, they look like me. So maybe I could have some insights into my fellow Wonder Whites, my fellow slicers out there. Now, these aren't necessarily the real reasons to vote yes, because if you're a white Australian and you're voting no, you're not listening to reason. But if you are voting no, that means, we were talking before about all the people who are voting yes. Paul Kelly. If you're a white Australian and you're not listening to Paul Kelly, you'll listen to him at Christmas. I know you will. Why not listen to him in October as well? Look, I'm not a specialist in the world of campaigning, but I am a lifelong people pleaser, so I know what it feels like to say yes when every part of your body is screaming no. So I think I can use that to help the Yes campaign change some minds. Here are a few ideas I've had for Team Yes. First of all, we need to stop saying the Yes vote is losing. It's not. It's an underdog story. The Yes vote is Rocky in Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, but not Rocky 3. Because in Rocky 3, officially, if we were looking for the underdog, that'd be Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T. I know that's a lot of detail, but I'm trying to make this so that even Peter Dutton could understand it. The Yes vote, for those who are looking for an Australian underdog, it could be someone like Stephen Bradbury, right? But I think we could get a specific underdog reference for each state because we need each state to vote yes. So the vote is looking quite bad in Queensland, right? I've been looking around in Queensland, so I think we need to start telling people in Queensland that the Yes vote is like the Maroons at Origin 2017. Game 2, New South Wales, they're a game up, and they're looking to end the dynasty until who comes along? Jonathan, the Yes Man Thurston. Yeah. That's right, Jonathan, he ignores a Caesar-ending shoulder injury. Who's with me? Who remembers it? He kicks at the death to set the boys up to win at Game 3. Who's with me, Queensland? The Yes vote is Jonathan Thurston in Game 2 in 2017. See, that's called pandering to your audience, and it works. The Yes vote needs to do a little more pandering, but the problem is, unfortunately, a lot of the no voters are racist, and no one likes pandering to racists. Well, I mean, a lot of the no vote loves it, but the Yes campaign have struggled to win the racists. Now, one of the problems with racists is that racists don't like being accused of being racist. You might often hear them say the phrase, "I don't have a racist bone in my body." Heard that one? Now that's because they've confused racism with arthritis. It's actually very common. Yeah, if they need an osteo, that's right. That's right, they need to drink more milk. You can get it in powdered form. I've seen the price. It's expensive, but it's worth it. No, racism traditionally, it's not a bone-based illness, it's more skin-based. But the reason I bring up racists is because right now the referendum has 3 types of voters, right? I'm going to bring them up here. We have Lewis Hobber. He's voting. No, we have the progressive no vote. You might have heard about that. We've got the progressive yes vote. We've got the racist no vote. And then there's a gap. Okay? So that means right now there are 2 paths to no and only 1 to yes. So this is a little bit out there, but I think what we need is a racist yes vote. Now I'll admit this is going to be a bit tough. All right?
Strap in.
Yeah, but I've had a few thoughts on how we could win them over. So what do we know racists love on social media? We know they love using a Holden Commodore as their profile photo. Now, the Yes campaign already got John Farnham to use You're the Voice as their song, right? So what if we convince Holden to change the name of their SSU to a Yes Yes U? It's not bad. You know, racists will be driving around with a bumper sticker for the yes vote they don't even realise. After that, all you have to do is rebrand a jet ski as a yes ski, and racists will have an armada of yes voters on sea and land. Now, the biggest tactic of the no campaign, of course, has lent on fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of progress. The obsession with detail that they keep bringing up, detail, that's all about fear, you know. They're creating the idea that this voice is a sleeper cell to full Indigenous revolution. But anyone who has ever worked in the public service would know that if you're planning on using bureaucracy to launch a coup, the coup will end up being watered down in 1 million planning meetings until it's nothing more than a friendly cup of tea. Now, the government just doesn't give power away, but the No campaign keeps saying, if you don't know, vote no, right? But being afraid of change in these votes has cost us for decades, right? We had the chance to become a republic, but we were too scared, and now we've still got King Charles as our head of state. Thank you, yes. But in the 70s, did you know, another referendum, well, it was actually a plebiscite. We're not about the Constitution, same thing, right? We had a chance to make Waltzing Matilda our national anthem. Did you know that? We had a plebiscite to make Waltzing Matilda our national anthem. But you know what we did? The voting cowards of Australia made us do Advance Australia Fair, a boring song that has a second verse that no one knows except nerds in Canberra. We could have had a song about a guy who steals sheep, runs from the cops, dies in a billabong, and then haunts the billabong as a ghost. That is the coolest national anthem in the world. Instead, voters chose a song that uses the word girt. If you don't know, vote no, you'll be making a massive mistake, even bigger than that. And if that doesn't make you girt with fear, just remember, Paul Kelly is watching you. Thank you very much.
That is so good. Having only just heard that, I'd gladly say no to no, because I can't say the word yeah. You know the word. Speaking of fascism, we'll be right back after this.
The price of food, petrol, all up. Savings, bank balance, all down. At Woolworths, we get what families go through because we put them through it. The cost of living is sky high, just like our record profits. You can thank us later. That's also why we're keeping an eye on you, with an industrial surveillance complex to catch you trying to feed your family at the expense of our shareholders. After all, it's how we get our Woolies worth, like record levels of Woolies worth. Wow, a dividend. We're Woolworths, the fascist people.
And finally, to take us out, the most compelling reason to vote no in the referendum was Gina Rinehart's poetry. And if Gina is happy to chip in to my election campaign next year, then I'm willing to go on the record to say that Gina's poetry is good. Take it away, Gina.
Before I begin this poem, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that I mine on. That's me. My Need to Know, a poem by Miana Reinhardt. Australia is deep in a new referendum. My mines are at risk, so who will defend them? Thank God for Barnaby, Jacinta and Dutton, who always come running when I press my button. First Nations people have had their apology. Anything more is just woke ideology. All right-thinking people stand firm, proud. When it comes to power, it's just whites allowed. Our airways all scream, vote yes. Well, that ain't gonna happen with this heiress. My old dad Lang fought hard for the right to keep all the wealth for the rich and the white. And that proud spirit, up for a brawl, to keep my gold so they get fuck all. I'll hold on to my iron, my coal mines too, then buy a few dog paintings, they should do. Now, before I get cancelled and called a bigot, but I own the ore. You just dig it. As Australia's best lady, I hold all the cards. So vote fucking no and save my backyard.
Well, that's about it for Irrational Fears 2023 Year in Review. And if you've gotten this far, it's clear you're either a traitor or an illegal alien. And if I was in power today, I'd trace down every single one of you and put you all into detention. Have a great 2024. I know I will. I'm becoming Prime Minister. Bye. Oh.
This is Irrational Fear.
Oh, well, thank you, Peter Dutton. Well, that was scary, but ultimately necessary for the long-term production of this podcast. Big thanks to all of you who listen, especially those on Patreon who keep this show on the road. Now, if you want to get an ad-free version of this show and access to the Discord server where we chat about Ozpol all day long, please chip into patreon.com/A-Rational-Fear. And if you are in Melbourne, see you February 1st at the Malthouse Theatre for our 1 millionth download show. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And thank you to all the people who participate in Irrational Fear throughout the year, especially Lewis Hobber and Jacob Round on the Teppanyaki timeline, who makes us sound so good each week. Thank you very much, Jacob. Couldn't do this show without you. We'll be back in February with more regular pods. Until then, there's always something to be scared of. Goodbye. Oh, I slipped into Peter Dutton then. Goodbye.
Where's Alan Jones? Bring back Alan.
I'm seeing Wonka. Bye.